What's good, you guys? It's your boy. Welcome to my world. Here today with the National Taizai, chapter 263. Now, before I get to the craziness that is the graces of Sariel and Tarmel, Ocean and Tornado, before I even get to that, let me address what Elizabeth just did. Elizabeth, the MVP of the war, for one thing, the MVP of the war. She just came in hella clutch, right? She has an attack called Ordeals of Jonah. And this massive whale came, right? It was made of like light magic, right? You know, like how the arcs are made out of light. It's like made out of light, right? And if you don't get the reference, it's called the Ordeals of Jonah. And Jonah in the Bible, he got swallowed by a whale, right? And he survived it, right? In reference to that, she used the whale to extinguish the flame of the Black Hound, right? And it was just a mass of like light magic, just like pretty much poured down on him. And it's interesting because I didn't know Elizabeth could do that. Like I didn't know any goddess could do that, to create conjures of like animals and stuff like that out of light. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one good thing, because the National Taizai, what the National Taizai doesn't have for me when it comes to the demons and the goddesses, they don't expand on their powers. Like I understand you can use an arc, which is pretty much light energy. It's pretty much holy magic, pretty much. But what else is there? You know what I'm saying? So now they're expanding on that with the ordeals of Jonah. And for Elizabeth to have that, people already know. Like it's already stated in the manga that Elizabeth is not like weak. She's not. She is the daughter of the supreme goddess. She's pulling out attacks. She has an arc. She has an arc that can move. She has an arc that can move. As far as I know, the arcs and the Omega arcs we've seen, that's nothing compared to her being the daughter of the Supreme Goddess, the direct daughter of the Supreme Goddess. She gets certain quantities that we haven't seen from, like, say, Lance Corporal goddesses, or even the four archangels. We haven't seen it. Elizabeth and Derriere, right? So once they extinguish the flames, Elizabeth and Derriere, they're just like, okay, where is everyone? And Derriere states that the fire from the Black Hound won't go out until it's extinguished the flesh, the bones, and everything, and it's left nothing but ash. And to me, I was like, yo, that's Amaterasu right there. Like, for one thing, you know what I'm saying? We find out that Diane actually sunk everyone underground using her magic. Remember, you got to remember that giants are in tune with nature, pretty much. Like kind of like how fairies are, but they're more like ground based. You know what I'm saying? They can manipulate like rock and earth and stuff like that. So she just poured them underground. And if you look back at the chapter before that, before the Black Hound really got down and started doing anything, she actually was in like a pose getting ready to actually do something. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, so she's probably gonna attack it or something like that. But what she did was she got everyone to safety, because she already knew if she had to fight it, the casualties would go up. It would rise, and most likely thinking about Elizabeth, how she said she doesn't want the casualties to rise. She wants everyone to go back home so that they can see their families and all that stuff, their loved ones. She was like, okay, well, everyone, I'm sorry, but you got to go underground for a couple minutes, right? So they're safe. So that what their next move is. I don't think they're gonna back up the goddesses. For one thing, the archangels are already they're apparently in a different dimension. Their graces are OP, right? Their graces are OP. So I see Elizabeth and them, they're just like chilling for now, making sure everyone's cool, you know what I'm saying? Probably like seeing why Derriere is actually there, finding out what's going on with that, and waiting until all the smoke clears up with Esterosa, Sariel, and Tarmel. Alright, now let's get to Esterosa versus Sariel and Tarmel. So first of all, Esterosa, I was talking about this last chapter review. I was like, why is his love power not working? And it turns out that goddesses are so strong, their graces, they can bypass the commandments of Ten Commandments. I don't know if it's all, but so far, Esterosa's love has not been working. And to me, I thought it was because they're goddesses. They're quote unquote holy. You know what I'm saying? They can temper themselves. You know what I'm saying? They can still their hatred for a minute. You know? And I found it. I was like, yo, because he mentioned in this chapter, he mentioned something about their eyes and how they're just like bleeding for like vengeance and all that. And at the same time, last chapter they seem pretty calm. In this chapter, they seem pretty calm. They're not like they're not like expressively angry. Like, remember when Death Pierce brought up Male, and they all had that expression of like don't you even dare like bring that up. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a traumatic thing. But now they're just calm. They're in the face of their brother's killer and they're calm. How this goes down is Esterosa, he comes through, right? He stabs Tarmil, but Tarmil turns to water. And then Saramil is about to get attacked by Esterosa. Esterosa's forearm gets cut up, right? He uses his grace. He's like tornado. He blows Esterosa away, man. He blows him away, right? And then you got Tarmil that comes through, and he's like ocean. When Esterosa gets there, he's like, what's going on? And they're like, this is our grace. This is what our grace does. And I can tell that because he called them the dynamic duo, and I can tell because their graces work so well in tandem, right? Because you have Sariel, Sariel, who can create tornadoes and all that kind of stuff, and he can and together they can actually manipulate the weather. Like, them two together are literally Storm from X-Men. So they can create lightning, and they have this one move. They use this one move on Esterosa while they're like tossing him around. They're creating like a storm at the same time, and then they call it like divine wrath of Lily or something like that. And at first I was like, who is that? Could that be the supreme goddess's name? Could that be? Because you got to think about it. They said it was the domain of God, right? It was the domain of God. It was a completely different dimension, right? It's legit it's a pocket dimension that they create when they activate their graces. It's a pocket dimension. So is this where like God, like is this like God's execution platform? Because where do they get their grace from? The supreme goddess. And them activating their grace, what happens? A pocket dimension. So is that pocket dimension actually the supreme goddess pocket dimension? And when they say wrath, divine wrath of Lily, is that referring to her? Are they calling upon her power and using it against Esterosa? And if that's the case, how much power? That kind of correlates with the demons and what they do, right? Because how the Demon King, he split his power off and he gave it to 10 individuals. Like, he cut it in half and then he cut that into 10 separate pieces, right? That kind of reminds me of what the Supreme Goddess did. I mean, I know it's supposed to be like a parallel, right? They have graces, they have 10 commandments. Like, it's supposed to be like a parallel. Besides them using their grace, I see them calling upon that power as like directly calling upon the Supreme Goddess. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if there's like an equivalent to that, because the demons, they just use the power that they were already bestowed. And if we were talking about the goddesses, that'd be their grace. So do the demons have like something like that? You know what I'm saying? Where they can like directly call upon the power of the Demon King, right? Now, there might be a thing I might have missed over it or skipped over it. Maybe the darkness, maybe that's what that is, but I don't know. But anyway, yeah, they were completely in tandem. They were wrecking Esterosa, honestly. And Esterosa was being so cocky, like just like how he was when he was fighting Escanor. He's very cocky because he has to be calm, because if he gets mad, then his Ten Commandment is gonna fall back on him. So Esterosa right now in this situation, It doesn't look good, but we know he's gonna come back on it, because you see how he's just falling farther and farther into this wickedness that Mont Spite was talking about. He's getting a little bit more twisted. You know what I'm saying? We've always known something was wrong with Esterosa, because remember when we first got introduced to him and that bird touched him, and then he turned that bird into like some amorphous form, and then he like blew it up. Remember that? Remember? Like we've been getting hints since the first time we met him. He is a twisted individual. When he killed Meliodas, he was crying, but he was killing his brother. Like, what? There's these things that are tying together Esterosa being sick, basically. So next chapter is going to be a turnaround, because it looked like they took out all the stops just to kill Esterosa. They literally, from my perspective, they literally called upon the power of God to kill him, and it's not going to work. Yeah, with that being said, y'all, I will see you guys later. Make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, click the little bell if you want to get the notifications every time that I post, and I will see you guys later. Peace.